Look, I'm 78 years old, and I'm about to tell you some things that are going to make you uncomfortable, maybe even angry. But I don't have time left to sugarcoat things anymore. So here it is. Almost everything you believe about building a successful life is setting you up for the biggest regret of your existence. I know. You're thinking, here we go, another old person telling me how things should be. But hear me out. I'm not making this video to feel wise or to lecture you. I'm making it because I spent 50 years chasing the wrong things, and by the time I figured it out, half my life was already gone. And I see you making the exact same mistakes I did.
The thing is, I had it all. At least, that's what everyone told me. Corner office, six-figure salary, house in the right neighborhood, respect from my peers. I was living the dream, except I wasn't. I was living someone else's dream while my own life slipped away one busy day at a time. Let me tell you about the day everything changed. I was 54, sitting in a conference room arguing about market share projections, and suddenly my chest felt like someone was tightening a vice around it. The room started spinning. Next thing I know, I'm staring up at hospital ceiling tiles with my wife sobbing next to my bed, and a doctor explaining that my heart had basically tried to quit on me. You'd think that would be the worst part. It wasn't. The worst part was lying there at 54 years old, realizing that if I had died right there, my entire life would have been, what, a decent 401k? A LinkedIn profile full of impressive-sounding titles? A house full of furniture I barely noticed because I was never home? That's when it hit me like a sledgehammer. I had been running on autopilot for 3 decades, just going through the motions, checking boxes, meeting expectations that weren't even mine to begin with. Here's the first big lie they don't tell you about. You have time. God, how many times did I say that to myself? I'll call Dad this weekend. I'll take that trip to Greece next year. I'll learn guitar when things slow down. I'll spend more time with the kids once this project is done. You know what? Things never slow down. Next year never comes. There's always another project, another deadline, another excuse. I watched my best friend die at 66. The guy worked himself into the ground for 40 years building his business. Always said he'd relax eventually. Eventually turned out to be a stroke that killed him before he ever took that retirement trip to New Zealand. At his funeral, his son said something that still keeps me up at night. Dad was always working on the next big thing. I just wish one of those big things had been spending time with me. Is that what you want your kids to say about you? Here's what really gets me, and I see this everywhere now. People think success is the goal. Make partner, get the promotion, hit that income milestone, buy the bigger house. I did all of that. And you know what happened? For about 2 days after each achievement, I felt great. Then, nothing. Just back to the grind, looking for the next thing to chase. It's like being on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. You run faster and faster, but you're not actually going anywhere. And the whole time, life is happening around you and you're missing it. I missed my daughter's school plays because of client meetings. I missed anniversaries because of business trips. I missed Sunday dinners with my parents because I was too tired. And for what? So I could have a slightly better title on my business card. My dad died when I was 48. Heart attack, sudden, gone in hours. We'd had this complicated relationship my whole life. You know, the typical father-son stuff where you're both too stubborn to really talk. I kept thinking we'd work it out eventually. Maybe when I had more time. Maybe when work wasn't so crazy. Maybe. We never got that chance. And now, 30 years later, what haunts me isn't the arguments we had. It's all the conversations we never had. All the Sundays I could have driven over but didn't. All the phone calls I was too busy to make. You think you have unlimited time with the people you love. You don't. One day they're here, and then they're not. And you're left with a lifetime of, I should have, and I wish I had. After my heart attack, I made some radical changes. I stepped back from the firm, started saying no to things that didn't actually matter, started saying yes to things I'd been putting off for decades, and people thought I'd lost my mind. You're at the peak of your career. You're walking away from everything you built. But here's what they didn't understand. I wasn't walking away from success. I was walking toward life, real life, not the performance of life I'd been putting on for 50 years. In the 24 years since that heart attack, I've learned more about what actually matters than I did in the previous 54. And it's embarrassingly simple stuff. Time with people you love, doing work that means something to you, not just work that pays well,
experiencing things instead of just owning things, actually being present instead of always thinking about what's next.
I finally took that trip to Japan I'd been postponing for 20 years, learned to paint, rebuilt my relationship with my kids, really rebuilt it, not just Christmas and birthday phone calls. Started volunteering at a literacy program, simple stuff. Stuff I could have been doing all along if I hadn't been so convinced that success was the answer to everything. And here's the kicker. I'm happier now at 78, knowing I've probably got maybe 10 years left if I'm lucky, than I ever was at 35 when I thought I had my whole life ahead of me. Because when you really understand that time is limited, you stop wasting it on bullshit. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. If you died tomorrow, would you be okay with the life you've lived so far? Not would people be impressed at your funeral, would you be satisfied? If the answer is no, then what the hell are you waiting for? I see young people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and they're all stressed out, anxious, chasing this idea of success that's going to make them happy someday. Meanwhile, their parents are getting older, their kids are growing up, their real life is happening right now, and they're missing it because they're too busy preparing for some imaginary future. You know what nobody tells you? That future you're working toward, it doesn't exist. By the time you get there, it'll be a different future you need to work toward. The goalposts never stop moving. I have 5 grandkids now, and I watch them growing up in this world where everyone's convinced they need to optimize and hustle and grind. And I try to tell them, slow down, be where you are, stop trying to speed run life. But they can't hear me, not really, because they're in it, you know. They're in the middle of the storm, and they think their situation is different. They think the old rules don't apply to them. That's why I'm making this video, because maybe someone out there will actually listen. Maybe someone will make different choices. Maybe someone will figure out at 30 what took me until 54 to learn. Every single day, you're getting closer to the end. I know that's morbid. Nobody wants to think about it, but it's true. Your parents, if they're still around, they're getting older every single day. One day, sooner than you think, they won't be here. And all those phone calls you meant to make, all those visits you were going to plan, gone. Your spouse, your friends, your kids, none of these people are going to be in your life forever. So what are you going to do? Keep putting it off? Keep telling yourself you'll make time later? Or are you going to wake up today and realize that later might never come? If I could go back and talk to my 30-year-old self, here's what I'd say. Stop trying to impress people you don't even like. Stop killing yourself for a company that would replace you in a week. Stop waiting for permission to be happy. Stop postponing everything that matters. Start calling your parents more. Start taking the trips. Start doing the scary things. Start saying no to the stuff that drains you. Start saying yes to the stuff that fills you up. And do it now. Not next month, not next year, not when you have more money or more time or whatever excuse you're using. Now. Because the perfect time you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. Life is always going to be messy and complicated, and there's always going to be a reason to wait. But if you wait, you're going to wake up one day and realize you waited your whole life away. I'm 78. I've probably got 10 years left? Maybe 15 if I'm really lucky, maybe less. And I'm okay with that, because these last 24 years, the years after I stopped chasing success and started actually living, these have been the best years of my life. Not because I made more money, not because I achieved more things, because I finally figured out what mattered and started prioritizing it. I've traveled to places I'd only dreamed about, deepened relationships with my family, pursued hobbies I'd shelved for decades, made peace with people I'd been holding grudges against, said I love you 1,000 times more than I did in the previous 50 years combined. And I'm genuinely happier now, with less time ahead of me than I was when I thought I had all the time in the world. That's the irony. When you accept that time is limited, you actually start living. You stop wasting it. You stop postponing joy. You stop waiting for someday. So you've got a choice right now. You can keep doing what you're doing, chasing success, putting off happiness, convincing yourself you'll live the life you want eventually. Or you can wake up. You can realize that time is running out faster than you think, and the life you're planning to live needs to start today. I can't make that choice for you, but I can tell you that you don't want to be sitting where I am, looking back and wishing you'd done things differently. Don't waste 50 years figuring this out. Learn from my mistakes. Live intentionally.
Prioritize what actually matters. Stop waiting for someday, because someday is right now. It always has been. If this resonates with you, share it. Leave a comment and tell me what you're going to change.